3 up, 2 across, tap that play button 3 times, and walk through the archway into Dialogue Alley. Welcome to the podcast. Dialogue Alley is a show all about Harry Potter books, book translations, and all other things magical. I am Erik, and with me today is Carly from All the Pretty Books.
Hello.
Hello. Melanie from the Harry Potter Collection.
Hello.
And Melanie, why don't you introduce our guest today?
We have a special guest. That's my husband, Alon.
Hi, guys.
Hi, Alon.
Thanks for having me.
Can you feel the love tonight?
He's nervous.
We just watched The Lion King at our house, so that's what's on my mind.
Oh, it's just been a Bluey marathon over here all day long. So
and then when you have kids, then you're like, Lion King, and then like, oh, there's a Lion King 2? And you're like, yeah.
Oh, but have you seen Lion King 1.5?
Yeah, so we finally got to that one again. That one's all right.
I like 1.5. It's precious.
So we got back there. So, Melanie, why is Alon here?
Well, our main segment today, we're going to be talking about. I hope it's okay that I'm like stealing your thunder a little bit, Erik. But
I have no thunder. Thunder's just a sound.
Okay, perfect. Our main segment, we're going to be talking about the Fantastic Beasts movies. So we're talking about movie 1 and movie 2 as kind of a precursor because none of us have seen Secrets of Dumbledore yet as of recording this podcast, but it is out as of today. The movie is out. So we just wanted to do an episode kind of doing like a cool recap on the first 2 movies. And watches movies and has seen movies.
Well, good. That would be a good qualification to be part of this show.
Yeah, it's finally something I can talk about because everything you guys talk about is way above my pay grade. So I can finally add something.
But not in terms of trivia, because you listen and read the books all the time.
I do enjoy trivia.
Every single time, every time we record, he's like, are you guys doing trivia? I'm like, we just did a trivia one like 3 episodes ago. Like, we're not going to be doing trivia for a little bit. Oh, man, I really want to do a trivia episode with you guys. So next time we do trivia, he'll be back on.
Fabulous.
Yeah, that'd be great. I want to get my wife on there for trivia, too, because she says the same thing sometimes. So, let's do it. That'd be fun.
Sounds good.
And Carly, you can find someone else to be on your team.
I'll find a rando off the street.
Perfect.
But I could just grab Harrison. I'd win.
Well, then who's going to come up with the questions? That's the problem.
Well.
Oh, that's a good point.
But I'd still win.
Okay, fine.
And the Slytherin in me is all about winning.
Well, speaking of your house, Carly, I want to do a quick, just so everyone gets to know Alon a little bit, like a quick introduction of him and Harry Potter in his life. So, Alon, tell everyone your house, your favorite book, and I don't know, your favorite movie, because you're not really a collector, but you're a fan.
No, I'm not a collector, unfortunately. So I read the books when they first came out, and then Melanie always made fun of me for it because I read books 1 through 6 as they came out and then dropped off the Harry Potter face of the earth. So I didn't read book 7 until I was 25.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was at the beginnings of our relationship, I finally got you to read it.
Yeah, and I had seen the movies before reading the book anyway, so I kind of knew the main points of the story, but I had never gotten to experience the book until she pushed me into it, so thanks for that. But
anytime.
Yeah, my house is Gryffindor.
Oh, nice.
Wow, we have a full set again.
Yeah.
Today.
Oh, we do.
I know we always having a Gryffindor on the show.
Let's see, my favorite book. I just finished book 6, which probably 80% of the time I would say is my favorite book, but on to book 7 is a close second, so I feel like book 6 and 7 are back and forth with top spot.
I get that.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I'm going to say book 6. Book 6 is my favorite book.
Is that just because it's Melanie's favorite book?
I mean, we're
Is she
married.
holding? Is she like giving you a stare right now? Like, you better say book 6.
No. It's
good.
funny because I believe in one of the episodes you guys did a little while ago, you talked about your tier for book list, and afterwards she had asked me, "Well, what's your list?" So I said my list, and she goes, "That was down to the." Well, sometimes this one, sometimes that one. It was exactly the same.
Yeah, like my list was exactly the same as his. And then remember, I switched like 2 of the books. I was like, wait, at the last minute, I need to. There's no way I could give this book this rating.
And I did the same thing.
He did the exact same thing. So.
Oh,
yeah.
Wow.
Best
Whereas, like, my
friends.
wife disagreed with mine, like, completely. So that's crazy. Well, we're glad you're here, Alon.
Well, thanks for having me. Happy to be here.
Yeah. And if people that are listening here still don't know who we are, Carly, Melanie, and I collect Harry Potter book translations, and we're just general Harry Potter fans, and we like talking about it, so we made a podcast to do so. And this is it. This is the podcast.
Welcome.
Well, welcome to the podcast. But as Melanie mentioned, we are going to be talking about the Fantastic Beasts movies, particularly movies 1 and 2. I say books because I'm looking at books in front of me because they also came out with a book for each of those 2 movies. The screenplay has been published in book format, so we'll briefly touch on that as well. But before we get to that, let's talk about some news.
Well, like I already hinted or mentioned before, Secrets of Dumbledore is out. It is out. I have been actively avoiding all of my Harry Potter platforms because I am terrified of spoilers, though I have seen some reviews from some friends saying that they loved it. I've heard some reviews from other friends saying that it was terrible. But I think we're going to see it on Sunday, so I can't wait.
I've heard the same thing. I haven't looked up any details, but I've seen some people that also said they loved it and some people that said they hated it. So
Same. And
usually when something's that polarizing, it piques my interest even more.
yeah.
Ooh,
and
what am I
Harrison's
gonna think
actually
about?
going to it as we speak. And I told him he can't talk about it with me until I see it. So there's that.
That's fair. Carly, do you have plans on seeing it?
Maybe Sunday, but I'm on call on Sunday, so I don't know. I may get to the theater and have to leave.
It's like 20 minutes before the end, and it's like, Carly, come to work.
I'm like, no.
No!
So yeah, that would probably be what happens.
I still want to see it. I told you last time, or maybe 2 times ago, I still really want to see the Batman movie, and I just don't have time to go to movies right now. So
Yeah, I understand
Gotta
that too.
secure your
It's-
babysitter.
I know. Well, we did secure a babysitter for this weekend. We're going to the soccer game on Saturday night. So, we kind of have to pick our moments.
That's
Alright.
true.
When we have tickets for something, we got to go to something.
Well, I
Alright,
hope you have fun.
Me too. It's going to be 34 degrees outside. It snowed today here.
No.
It snowed here in parts of it anyway.
Yep.
So there's that.
It was 70 degrees today.
Yeah, sunshine and blue skies.
And
Not
we had
bad.
that last week, and then it dipped back down into this
Ugh.
apocalyptic haze of doom.
Any other news other than Erik? I noticed that you got something pretty spectacular that you posted on your Instagram.
I did. So as my wife was listening to that episode that we did about the deluxe editions of the books, before I even mentioned that, hey, this would be a really good gift for my wife to get me for my birthday, she told me she already was on the internet, looking to buy it as soon as we started talking about it.
Oh, how
So-
nice.
Yeah. So she actually found it for a really reasonable price from a site in the UK, and it came brand new, shrink wrapped in the official cardboard box that they come in. And it was no more expensive than any of the other books. So
I love the deluxe editions. I only have book 2, but I love it.
Oh, I love it too. And like, Melanie, you converted me. So like, I picked up the box and I'm like, this has to be a deluxe edition book because it was heavy.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know what to do with it on my shelf because I have to lay it down flat and like, it's just there at the bottom of my illustrated edition pile.
Yep.
Which I don't like because I have to reorder now because they're not in the right order. but I'll do that later.
Well,
Just carrying this downstairs was a feat upon itself. Like,
it's so big.
I needed a friend to help me carry it down.
I mean, even just to bounce right off of that and to add to our news, something spectacular is that they finally released the image for the Order of the Phoenix Deluxe Illustrated, and it is stunning. Did you guys see it?
Yes.
I did. It's black and gold, right?
Black and gold.
Oh,
And they posted it on Amazon in the US, and it was listed pre-order for $450. $450. However, Amazon UK, it was like half that. So
yeah, I may have
and the site that
get one because it's I may have to get one. It's beautiful, just beautiful.
And the site that Rita was looking on for the first book that she got me, like 1, 2, 3, and 4 were all the same price, which I thought was kind of interesting. But then pre-orders for 5 was like almost double. So that seems to follow the same trend that you just mentioned. But I'm not on the bandwagon yet. I have one. I'm good with one for now.
I may have to get that one for like my birthday or something because it's just a beautiful book.
it's so good.
Mm-hmm. I can't wait to do a flip through. I may have to actually make a YouTube video again for that.
Well,
Just hope it doesn't have disastrous results like the last YouTube video we made.
I know, and no one liked it, but we had fun. We had fun.
that's half the battle. So is there any other news? Anything I'm forgetting? I don't know.
There is news. So Potterglot has mentioned on his site that the new Macedonian translations are totally done. So Half-Blood Prince and Deathly Hallows are out.
Oh, fabulous. I need to finish those out then, it sounds like.
Yeah, so if you're looking for a complete set of those, they're out.
Fabulous.
So
there you go.
That's it.
All right. I guess that's it for news.
Yeah, not a lot of news. That's okay.
It was a meat and potatoes news because there wasn't a lot of it, but it was good what we had.
It was good, yes.
And filling. Carly, do you want to introduce the main segment?
Yeah. So, the main segment, we're going to be talking about the Fantastic Beasts movie 1 and 2, or movies 1 and 2, I should say. So yeah, what do you guys think? I just finished movie 1 right before this. I tried to watch movie 2. I was watching out of order because I don't know what happened. I really preferred movie 1 over 2 by a long shot.
Yes.
I think a lot of people did.
Yeah. I think that's part of the reason why everybody was so disappointed by movie 2 is how great 1 was. What about y'all? What do y'all think?
I'm not a huge movie fan of this universe. However, when these movies came out, I looked forward to them more so than I did the actual like movies 1 through, I guess, 8 technically. Just because it was a story that nobody knew. So
right.
There was no expectation.
I loved that there were no books
to be
to
let
go
down.
With it. Yeah.
Actually. And yeah, I do like that there was a book that it was very loosely based off of. So you kind of had like these characters already established in your mind if you've read the books or watched the movies. But movie 1, like I thought it was really entertaining. Like it was different, right? It focused on kind of the wizarding community in the United States, which was pretty cool, being a person from the United States.
I also like that it took place in a different time, like era.
Yeah, I agree. So like all of those combined and just the fact that it focused more on like magical creatures was cool. And then like going into it, I really didn't know that it was going to be more about like the Grindelwald backstory, but I guess it turned out to be that towards the end of the first movie.
Right.
Which I feel like that's what's so great about the first movie is that it's not necessarily the Grindelwald backstory, because I feel like what they're doing for movies 2 and 3, and not to jump ahead, but I feel like what they're doing for those is really trying to sell tickets by advertising it as these fan service movies, by having Dumbledore be such a big part of them, to the point where they had to put Dumbledore in the title of the third one just so they could put butts in seats.
And that's why, like, I was very confused when after the first movie came out, they announced how many they were going to make in this series. Was it 5?
It's 5.
And that's just seemed like absurd to me. Like, wow, how can we come up with 5 things to do with this particular character? And so, like, I love the first movie. I think the focus on Newt as a character is really cool.
I love Newt as a character.
As kind
great.
of like fluffy as the plot is, it's just really a fun movie to watch. And, you know, you get to kind of take what you know about the Harry Potter universe and see this new spin on it. However, when it goes deeper into like the Grindelwald Dumbledore conflict, like that almost seems like its own thing. Like, I don't know why they have to keep involving Newt in the next 2. Like, I would have loved to just kind of have the first one be about Newt and the Beasts and be like, yay. And now we have like a new movie about Grindelwald and Dumbledore. Like,
instead of couching them together.
Yeah, I agree with that. I almost would have rather have movie 1 just be its own standalone movie, and then, you know, I have no problems with the second movie going the direction it went, but why call it Fantastic Beasts? It's not even about Fantastic Beasts anymore.
Right,
exactly.
I agree. Like I loved the way it went. Like, I'm very interested by that that whole plot line, right? Yeah. I think all of us are, as people that have read the books and know like the real background story between Dumbledore and Grindelwald, especially like Alana, you just said you read book 7 again. Like, it talks a lot about that in book 7. And I want to know more about that. I think it's a great topic to explore, but I don't know if combining them is necessarily the best idea, nor was it necessary. Like, it would have sold well
just as it was,
Dumbledore
honestly.
and Grindelwald, right?
Yeah.
Right, it would have, because like all of us would have gone to see it. So
yeah, I think the Fantastic Beasts moniker is just kind of the brand they're trying to sell, and they're just sticking with it. But it just doesn't seem like it fits.
And the thing about it is they wouldn't have to work too hard to get butts in seats anyway, because it's a part of a universe so many people the world over love.
For sure.
So we would have gone just for the immersion again.
Right. It's the same reason that people go to every Star Wars movie that comes out, whether it's good or bad, right? Like, we just watched Revenge of the Sith last night, and boy, that movie is not good. But I remember going to the midnight showing of that thing, being like, well, here we are, we're going to see it.
I may
because it's Star Wars.
One of the only human beings on the face of the planet that loves Revenge of the Sith.
Oh, no way.
I recognize how cheesy and bad it is, but I don't know, something about it.
He loves it. It's his favorite one.
I love all the Star Wars movies. I think that the actor that plays Anakin Skywalker is just not the right guy for the role.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like, it's I love like the general plot, right? But I just don't love the dialogue. Like, the dialogue ruins it. Like, I love the story and I love the plot, but I hate the dialogue. So, like, it kills me inside whenever they talk. Like, just don't talk. It'd be a silent movie.
the dialogue is pretty cheesy. That's for sure. But I don't know, something about it. But yeah, I mean, I agree with you by, you know, look at the last 3 movies they put out. Their episode, 7, 8, and 9. You know, and this is opinion. I don't think they were anywhere near as good as episode 4, 5, 6, but look how much money they made.
Oh, it's exactly.
Well, because everyone's going to go see it.
Yeah, it's Star Wars. This is Harry Potter. Everyone's going to see it.
Exactly. How many people signed up for Disney Plus so they could watch Mandalorian or Boba Fett?
Yeah.
Right? Or that, like, when they announced that all the Clone Wars shows were going to be on there, like, people signed up for Disney Plus because it was on there. So
I think we did.
Yeah, I think that's...
we got Disney Plus for Clone Wars.
That's the exact reason.
Yeah.
like, they don't have to try hard to get us to spend money on Harry Potter stuff. Like,
Right.
we're all going to do it no matter what. So yeah.
And that's the thing, I think, as big fans that we are of this series, I feel like we have a harder time with the Fantastic Beasts series because of the fact that we're such big fans and because of the fact that we recognize how hard they're trying. And I know one of the things that irked me so much with the second movie, so Crimes of Grindelwald, that they were trying so hard for fan service by throwing McGonagall into the movie. Like, that is not the fan service we were looking for. These are not the droids you're looking for. This was not the fan service I was looking for. It was just so, like, it was thrown in. It made extreme Harry Potter fans so angry because it messed with the canon. And it just was unnecessary. Just give me, like, okay, this movie is going to be about Dumbledore and Grindelwald and, like, the origin of their conflict. Great, give me that. But that movie, it was not that.
And the difference is fan service can be good if it's done right.
I mean, what do we say all the time? Spider-Man.
Yeah. Spoilers ahead if you haven't seen Spider-Man No Way Home.
I
But-
haven't.
You
I've
haven't
not
seen it?
So then all
No,
I'll
I
say
haven't
is...
seen it. I haven't even seen the second one.
Oh my god.
Okay, then all I'll say is there was a ton of fan service in there, but it was all really, really well done. And
I'm pretty sure I know the fan service you're speaking of because
Yeah.
everyone has seen this movie except me, and everyone has spoiled it for me. So,
yeah. And
you can talk.
that's
You
the
can talk
issue.
about it if you want.
That's, I think, is the biggest issue with Crimes of Grindelwald is that they try to put in so much fan service, but didn't really do it right. And not necessarily didn't do it right. I feel like as huge Harry Potter fans as we are, we're going to pick out stuff that's wrong versus the casual fan who's going to be like, oh, I know that name. That's cool.
Right.
You know, I guess what always pops out to me is having McGonagall in, you know, a 1920s setting of Hogwarts when she specifically says in book 5, you know, I've been teaching here for 40 years.
Right.
So, you know,
Yeah.
now you're going back 60, 70 years and she's there. It just, you know.
Maybe they have to teach magical education. You have to do like a really long student teaching like, practicum.
Yeah,
Or maybe she was like
little
there
stuff
like at a
that.
temporary basis, and then she went off to pursue other interests, and then she came back permanently.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
but-
Oh, maybe.
You're justifying why
I
they
know.
did something, and that's it shouldn't be justified if it was done right. You know?
Exactly.
True. And that, more than anything, like the McGonagall in movie 2 upset everybody that I know of. We were all super confused.
all of the people that we know of are huge Harry Potter fans, if you think
That's
about it,
true.
which is why we would be upset about it. But if you asked Joe Schmo, who just went to go see the movie, who was just a casual Harry Potter fan, they'd probably be like, oh, hey, McGonagall, like, that's pretty cool. Like, I didn't realize that she taught at Hogwarts so, like, that long ago. Like, because
She
they
didn't.
they wouldn't know that that's
Right.
not the case.
Right. But yeah, that was one of the things, like, more than anything out of movie 2, that was the most salient part for me.
And I think that that's the whole thing that, like, we lose sight on is the reason why we did that, or the reason why they did that is what I just said, is because
Right.
they're advertising these movies for the Joe Schmoes, not for us, because we're the people that are automatically going to buy the tickets anyway. They need to get the casual Harry Potter fans in to see these movies.
You're not wrong.
Right. So I was thinking of like the other books that complete this kind of like Hogwarts textbook trilogy that you can get, you know, which is Fantastic Beasts, Quidditch Through the Ages, and Beetle the Bard. Like, if they made a Quidditch Through the Ages movie, like, that would be for fans only, right? Like, if it was like, it's going to be exploring the history of Quidditch and the creation of the first Quidditch League.
Oh, I would be
And then
all over
they're
that.
going to play a big game. I would love it.
I
would
would
be
be
like,
the-
we're
I'd
going.
be there
Midnight
immediately.
showing. We're going to that thing. But like, my dad would be like, who cares, right? Like, he's like, what's the story in that, right? There's no like appeal in terms of like, we got lots of action and crazy spells and stuff. It's like, it's a magical sport. That we
I
made
would
up.
love to see a movie, though, about, like, Beetle the Bard himself. Like, why did Beetle write these tales? I would
Oh,
love,
I
like,
agree.
the backstory on that.
I would
That'd be
even
cool.
love a movie that contains like short like vignettes of like all the stories in that book.
Oh, yeah, I would too.
Acted out. I think that would be awesome. Maybe more as like a mini series or something on HBO, but
That would be fun.
or any number of the 40 streaming platforms that exist these days. But yeah, I think Fantastic Beasts is the one that they thought would have the most appeal to the non, I guess, hardcore Harry Potter fan.
And I mean, Newt is a fabulous character. I love how he's fleshed out, especially in movie 1. Like, he's somebody that I really enjoyed watching. I thought Eddie Redmayne portrayed him so well. He's so awkward, which I identify with because I'm so awkward myself. And I really enjoy him, and I enjoy the other characters that came on. You know, we have so many great people that we meet through that movie, and we get wonderful beasts in there. But
And that's
Yeah,
what you
well, like-
would assume this whole series would be all about, is the beast. And that's something that I've said in past episodes, is that I feel like it's leaning more toward the beasts are the wizards.
yeah. Which brings in politics and
Interesting.
stuff like that.
Which again, though, like Alon just said, like we're justifying, like we're trying to make like a Martin Scorsese type like flip on the theme of the title. Which, do you really think that they were thinking that deeply all along
No.
about that? Like,
I also feel like they, in movie 2, like you see very few beasts, but enough to make Funko Pops out of.
Oh, don't get into the Funko Pops.
yeah, why would you have to bring Funko Pops up?
I'm just saying that's what I feel like. Like, I feel like they were more done to get merch made out of it than to add anything to the plot. I did like in movie 2 that we did get to meet Nagini. I thought that was cool. But,
That was cool.
you know, there was still so much lacking that I don't know.
And what's ironic about it is, like, the main beast I feel like that's featured in the second movie is the Zuwu, which
Right.
isn't even in the Fantastic Beasts textbook.
Oh, it's not even in the
Yeah.
book. I remember looking that up right after the movie was done. I'm like, oh, what's this? Oh, it's not.
Well, they had to make new Fantastic Beasts books to have the new beasts in them. They had to edit the new ones in.
Yeah, they put some in.
Did
but
they
I
do
don't-
that really?
Yeah, that's why they reissued
Yeah.
them with the movies.
Well, they reissued it after, I don't know if you guys remember, but there was, when they first introduced Ilvermorny, there on Pottermore, there was like a short story about the creation of Ilvermorny. Did you guys read that?
Yes, but it's been
was-
a while.
Oh, it was brilliant. I don't even know where you would find that to read that nowadays, but it was a really cool, interesting story about how they came up with the 4 houses for it. So I think it was after that they edited the Fantastic Beasts textbook, because they added in the hide behind, and they added in, I don't think they added in Puckwudgie, because I think Puckwudgies are technically like a being, not a beast. But they added in the Horned Serpent. And what's the
Thunderbird.
other one? What's the cat? Wampus cat.
Wampus Cat, yeah.
Okay, so I do have a copy that has that. Rita was at Half Price Books, and also for my birthday got me the one. It's like a red cover with like green snake tail and like shiny gold behind
Right.
the Fantastic
Right.
Beast word. You know what that one? Yeah. So I have that one, and those are all in this copy. I think that's the only one I have, because they're not in the illustrated edition, are they?
I don't know. I don't have it to check.
Yeah, I would have to look back and forth.
Well,
But
I'm not
yeah,
gonna move
I
it
just-
because my deluxe edition's weighing down that stack. I'm not moving that.
I just know that's why they reintroduced the Fantastic Beasts books in like whatever year it was because of this. They added new beasts to the, I guess, fandom. And actually, the first prints that were released had they had a paragraph missing for one of them. So those books were
Yes.
recalled. I actually have a copy of them because, collector here. So I have a copy with the typo or with the misprint production error, and a copy without, because that's what we do.
I remember we were so excited about it. We were like, oh, it's a misprint. Go to Barnes & Noble and get all the misprint books so we can have all the misprints.
Right. And
Okay, I don't know.
did.
I don't know what you're talking about. So you're gonna have to tell me this later so I can look at my book.
Yeah, we'll chat about it.
Okay, because now I'm like, oh man. But speaking of books, do any of you have the screenplays that were bound into a book form?
I have
Yeah.
them signed
Samesies.
Whoa, by who?
not J.K. Rowling, by
Mina
Mina
Lima.
Lima. And actually,
Cool.
a cool story is the first screenplay, just for the Fantastic Beasts itself. Yvonne went to London to the Mina Lima store, and she got me a signed one that's dedicated to me.
Wow, that's
fun.
awesome.
I know. And then she also got the second one for me there, but it wasn't dedicated.
I don't know why I didn't get mine dedicated. I
Well,
got
that's
them
okay.
to sign mine at Celebration, because they were always at Celebration for Harry Potter, and you could always get them to sign stuff, and they're just the nicest people on the
Yes.
planet. But
And their
got them
art's
to sign
amazing.
mine.
Just amazing.
Oh yeah.
I think that is why I bought these. Like, I did not buy them to read. I bought them just to, like, look at on the shelf, really. Like, if you
Same.
don't even open these books, they look awesome on your shelf.
And the jackets are wonderful, and so are the boards.
Yeah. Yep. And if you do open them, there are more, like, Mina Lima graphics and illustrations inside. So they're worth cracking open. But, I mean, I can't see myself, like, on a beach somewhere in a lawn chair reading this
Reading
book.
a screenplay. No, that's
No.
not what I
Well,
do.
What's really cool about the first one is using it as a reference was really helpful. When I remember when the first movie came out, and I was just spewing out theories about the Obscurus and what that meant and how cool that was, that the second I got home, I ran to my screenplay copy of Fantastic Beasts, because I needed to look at that in comparison to book 7 and come up with all of these theories about Ariana Dumbledore being an Obscurus, and that's why Grindelwald is involved with Dumbledore, and blah, 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 all this stuff. But having the screenplay as a reference for that was really important, and also trying to track the Elder Wand and who would be the master of the Elder Wand. I remember when at the end of the first movie, it's confusing who's the one that actually disarms Percival Graves, who's actually Grindelwald, because even though he's not holding the Elder Wand at the end of that movie, he still was the one in possession of the Elder Wand at that time, unless this is just me as a super crazy Harry Potter person thinking about that because they didn't actually feature the Elder Wand until the second movie. Maybe they're trying to change the timeline and be like, oh, maybe he didn't get the Elder Wand until the second movie.
That could be the only thing stopping that, because that theory tracks that you don't have to be disarmed holding the Elder Wand, because
Right.
Harry disarmed Draco and
Right.
was
Right.
still master of the Elder Wand. So
Right. But then it would make you think that at the time, Newt right now is the master of the Elder Wand, even though Grindelwald has possession of it. Newt should be the master of it as per what's outlined in the screenplay, which is why it's important to have the screenplay.
Ah. Also, I would
feel
like
like
to point out
I feel
that
like if... Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say also, this is tangent, but you know Melanie's making a point when her also gets really long and like
Also,
and Long
also,
Islandized.
I also talk with my hands when I'm getting into it. Which Alon is noticing, and like our chairs keep like squeaking into each other and our elbows keep bumping because I keep going off on my big tangents.
I was going to say, if only one of our listeners who likes making graphs and spreadsheets would make one about the Elder Wand tracking.
Seriously, I don't even know. Like, it's all over the place.
I'm sure there's something like that already exists, but if there's not, that's kind of crazy that there isn't, because
You would think there would be, but
you would think there would be, right?
and there's plenty of wonderfully nerdy people in the Harry Potter fandom, so I'm sure there's one somewhere.
I mean, I didn't put it on a graph, but I definitely like sat and thought about it and had to look it up and had to think about, all right, well, Grindelwald is supposed to have the Elder Wand at this point, and Percival Graves isn't holding the Elder Wand, but he should be master of the Elder Wand. So Newt disarms him, so now Newt's the master of the Elder Wand, even though Grindelwald has it in the second movie. Like, all of those things are going through my head, but again, that could just be me as a crazy Harry Potter person, and that's why they don't physically introduce the Elder Wand until movie 2. So
Right, but
I
then-
think we're really digging into this, but keep in mind they make continuity errors in the second movie. So
That's
right,
true,
like you
too.
just said with the McGonagall,
Yeah,
excuse me,
so-
with the McGonagall situation. Like, are they really thinking that hard about who's the master of the Elder Wand or not? I mean, I don't know.
I would hope they would be, because that's, a huge
it's a big
key
deal.
factor in the story. So,
What? And
Yeah.
I feel like, I guess if you had to say who is going to watch this movie, I feel like more fans that are already pretty well versed in the Harry Potter universe and lore are people that are watching this movie versus people that are just kind of watching it just cuz. So it would almost be a disservice to not include those kind of details, but I mean, you never know. Like, why did a cliff appear in Jurassic Park so the Jeep could fall down it? I don't know, because it's more exciting. So, who cares? Like,
I mean,
but there wasn't one there before. Wow, who cares? There's one now, and the Jeep's falling down.
I like to think that. Okay, I like to think the movie is, these movies are made for us, right? So, like, having that in mind, looking at all of these little context clues and all of these little things that happen, like, there's a moment where Dumbledore says to Newt, like, it can't be me, like, I need you, right? Like, doesn't he say something like, it has to be Newt,
you, yeah.
it has to be you? And maybe that's because Dumbledore knows that Newt's the master of the Elder Wand at this point.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
You
make a
know,
strong
like,
point.
or it could just be as simple as like, oh, it's the blood pact. I'm not allowed to move on Grindelwald because we made a pact that we would never do that. I don't know. I mean, we'll find out when we see the third movie on Sunday.
but I mean, logically, we know he moves on Grindelwald because
Eventually.
right. So he's gonna move on him eventually. So.
Well, based on how good movie 3 does in theaters is going to determine how many more of these movies they're going to make, if they're going to sum it up in 2 more movies or if they're going to sum it up in 1 more movie. But it's very possible that in this movie, maybe Newt faces off with Grindelwald and Grindelwald disarms Newt again, and then Grindelwald gets the wand back, and then it's a more fair fight between Grindelwald and Dumbledore when they actually do face off, you know? Or maybe Newt gets into a fight with Dumbledore and Dumbledore disarms Newt, and that's how Dumbledore gets the wand, is by taking
Or maybe
it from Newt.
it's like a
Less likely, I
Revenge of the Sith scenario, and like Grindelwald like shocks Dumbledore with like force lightning, and it makes his beard, and it makes his beard grow really long and makes him look older, and that will solve the age gap, why he looks so young and dapper, and then he looks so old in the later movies.
Oh man.
I will say, I'm like looking at the 2 screenplay books in front of me. I personally prefer the Crimes of Grindelwald like physical book. I think the coloring is really cool.
Oh, it's pretty.
I agree.
I mean, they're both outstanding. I really just like this kind of like aquamarine turquoise because there's nothing like it on my shelf.
Wait,
Yeah.
are those books going to be the translations of the show?
No.
I'm teasing.
Because, I mean, even though I'm holding them in my hands, I'm not going to tell you how they feel in my hands, even though they're identical. They're like the exact same length and the exact same shape.
No, they look really nice together, too. Have you guys seen the one for this one yet?
I haven't looked, actually.
No,
I
have you?
should.
Is it out? Can we buy it?
No.
I should go check Barnes & Noble when we're done here.
Yeah, stay tuned for that, everybody.
It is weird, like, as a book collector, like, we buy so many books that we're not going to read. Like, I'm going to
know.
buy this book so I can put it on my shelf.
And look at it and talk about it, but absolutely not read it.
I mean, speaking of a book that I'm sure that we have never actually read, do we want to get into the translation of the show? All right, so translation of the show today, we're doing Yiddish, which I'm super excited about because tonight, as we're recording this, is actually the first night of Passover. So we've already done Hebrew, so I thought it'd be a really cool idea to do Yiddish.
Such a cool language.
And is Yiddish still our newest translation?
No, I think Maori came out after Yiddish.
Is Maori after? Yeah,
Yeah.
I think you're right. Yiddish, then Maori. Yep. But it's one of the, like, newer translations.
And I
for sure.
remember we were so excited about it when it came out.
Yeah.
It's so cool. It's such a cool book, and it's
It's a beautiful book.
It's beautiful. I'm stoked to talk about it. So, Alon, do you want to try to say the translator? You should try.
Do it.
All right. I'm going to assume Aaron
Mm-hmm.
Schechter Viswanath.
It could be. This Waneth. I don't know. I almost think if I read it in Hebrew, it would, like, it might be easier to pronounce it, but I don't know. So, yeah, so that is our translator. And the publisher, is that an L?
Olniansky text.
Yeah, it's an L.
Oh. Olanansky text. Pretty cool.
Does text mean text?
Probably. like letters.
Yeah, probably.
It could be. Oh, it is an L. I'm like, I can see it I could read it a lot better when it's on the actual book. So Yiddish is a West Germanic language, and it's historically spoken by Ashkenazi Jews, which is really cool because Alana and I are both Ashkenazi Jews. So we've grown up with a lot of Yiddish in our house. So Yiddish originated in the 9th century in Central Europe, and I feel like this is all, never mind. We could just take out that I just said that. I feel like this is all, like, backstory that we don't necessarily
It's a lot. I just thought it was notable that, like, the amount of speakers of Yiddish declined immensely after World War II, which was for obvious reasons. But I thought that was crazy. It peaked at 11 million, and now it's down to about, like, 1.5 to 2 million.
Wow. I mean,
Makes sense.
And I mean, it could
Totally.
be because of the war, obviously, but also just because, like, in practicality, I don't think this language is as, like, day-to-day life-ish.
which is
as,
funny
let's
because,
say,
like,
Hebrew.
we don't, like, I don't say anything really in Hebrew in our house. Like, I don't know. The only phrases that I use are, like, I'll say excuse me in Hebrew every so often, and I'll say, like, let's go in Hebrew. Like, you know how, like, I don't know, when you're talking, you just be like, come on, vamonos. Like, you'll say it in
Yeah.
Spanish every so often. In Hebrew, it's yalla. So, like, trying to get the dog in the house, it's like, Ruby, yalla. So, like, so that's when the Hebrew comes out. But Yiddish, I feel like it's like an everyday thing in our house. I feel like we come up with a Yiddish phrase or say something in Yiddish, especially my mom to the baby. My goodness, it's Yiddish out the wazoo. She's like,
I
Is
feel-
Wazoo Yiddish? I'm kidding.
I feel like Yiddish would be something that would be used more in the home than out, like, in things, if that makes sense. Like, out.
the way I feel about Yiddish, and I always have felt this way, it's more of like, yes, I feel like it's more of like a homey kind of language, and I also feel like it's more of like the, like,
or community language.
yeah, and it's more of like warm and fuzzy. Like, I feel like anytime, like, you hear Yiddish words, it just gives you that, like, warm and fuzzy, like, grandma feeling. But that's, I don't know.
It you know, you grow up with your grandmother calling you cute Yiddish words all the time and saying
You know,
things,
Shana
so-
Punam,
Yeah.
you know. Go get a schmata. Gotta wipe that up. Get a schmata.
Yeah, my dad, whenever I was doing something stupid as a kid, he would kind of like give me a little like smack on the back of the head called a chapcha.
Well, that might be Hebrew.
That might be Hebrew.
Because your dad speaks Hebrew.
Yeah. That might be Hebrew.
Yeah, that's fun fact is Alon's dad is Israeli, so Hebrew's actually his L1, which is pretty neat.
Wow, that's really
that's
cool.
neat.
Yep. Yes, my dad is fluent and grew up with Hebrew.
That's really awesome. So, did he speak Hebrew to you as a kid?
No, he, you know, I was really only exposed to it when he'd be on the phone with like his family back home. We didn't really speak any Hebrew. My mom doesn't speak it, so it's just kind of him and like his sister and his mom when he was calling back home. So,
which I was really upset because I told him I wanted him to talk in Hebrew around the baby, so she would like grow up with like a little bit of Hebrew. He calls her some like little like cutesy little, I don't know, like he calls her like choop choop or something like that to Nora. Like, I don't know, he uses like little Hebrew phrases, but yeah, like I feel like the Yiddish phrases are more so like those homey, like warm and fuzzy kind of little phrases.
But you mentioned Hebrew being an L1. Like I was really fascinated because I guess I hadn't dug much into Yiddish, but like I was kind of astounded to find out that officially it's only an official language in Russia. And specifically the Jewish Autonomous Oblast, which is like a state in Russia. That's what they call their states. And it's like way over in the east, like kind of over by like the North Korea area in Russia, like middle of nowhere Russia, which I knew nothing about. So this has really kind of triggered me to do a lot more reading about this area of Russia.
That's really cool.
In this community that lives over there. So yeah, I love when we like do these translations of the show because I end up like down the rabbit hole of like reading about something I've never.
I love that the Yiddish uses the Hebrew alphabet. That was one of my favorite things when I saw the translation because I'd never seen Yiddish written. And I loved how it used the Hebrew alphabet and entirely different phonetics. It did not sound like I thought it would at all. It was amazing when I got to hear it.
You have them on your website? Like you have the first
the Book That Lives project. I have actually the translator did a reading as well, but somebody else offered one too. So there's 2 different readings up there, and it was just amazing.
I haven't listened to them in like such a long time, so maybe once we're done recording, Alana and I'll like delve into those and we'll have a listen to the Hebrew versus the Yiddish. I feel like it will be really cool to listen to the differences.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I may probably be doing the same, actually.
Very cool. So do we want to chat a little bit more? We didn't talk yet about the rarity of this book, probably because it is not rare at all. Very easy to get.
Yep.
So we typically will do like a scale of 1 to 5. So on a scale of 1 to 5 of how rare this book is, we would give it a 1. It is very easy to get.
Yeah, if you Google Harry Potter Yiddish book, buy, you'll be directed to the Etsy shop where you can buy it directly from the publisher for $18 plus shipping worldwide.
Fabulous.
So if you want one, you should get one. And Melanie, we talked about this a few times ago. Like, this is one that I don't know how much longer they're going to keep printing them,
right?
Because you have to buy rights every time that you like reprint this Harry Potter book in any language. So if you want one, get one now for $18 plus shipping.
Might as well.
Might as well.
I wonder if it's $18 because it's chai.
Interesting.
I've mentioned that before too on the podcast, but like 18 is a lucky number, like because the letters spell out the word life in Hebrew. Like it's complicated, but the word chai means life, and the numerical value for that word is 18. So 18.
I would lean towards yes, only because there's no. It's like $18. Maybe it's Australian dollars because it's from Australia.
I don't know.
I'm on the Etsy shop right now, but there's no like tax. Like normally, like in the United States, I'm used to seeing things like $17.99 or $18.99. This is like $18 flat.
So maybe.
I think you're onto something there.
All right.
And it ships from Sweden, believe it or not.
Oh yeah,
I think that's their printer.
Yeah.
Yep.
If you look at the front of the book, like on the copyright page, I actually just noticed that it says something about Swedish press or something like that.
Yeah.
Swedish Arts Council.
So it's an Ashkenazi Jewish language with an Australian translator, and it ships from Sweden.
It's amazing. It even has the address right in the book, and it has like the website. Everything's right there. So do we want to do a little tots?
Sure, let's get our tot scale going.
All right, so open the book. Take a nice big whiff. Alana, I'm going to make you do this too. I'll pass it over.
Because it's Passover?
I didn't even mean to do that. Amazing.
It's pretty good.
I think it's pretty good. All right. So on a scale of troll to outstanding, what would you give that?
The smell? Well,
Yes.
It doesn't smell like a troll. Trolls smell gross. I would give that an A. And you know why? I am comparing it to this smell has stuck in my head my entire life. When I first opened The Hobbit, when I was maybe 10, 11 years old, that book smelled so good, and it just always stuck with me, and nothing has ever come close.
Well, you know what? I'm going to make you smell once this podcast is over. Is I'm going to make you go smell my Slovak books.
Slovak.
Yeah, that is a great smelling book.
All right.
Are you trying to erase like one of his happiest book memories with making him smell Slovak?
No, I'm not going to. You can't take the Hobbit away from anybody, but
Okay.
I am going to make him smell the Slovak books. I would also give it an acceptable. I feel like it is, it smells nice and clean and fresh, in my opinion. But
But nothing to write home about.
Yes. So,
No,
A,
it's
acceptable for me.
Same.
I agree. It's neither here nor there, which is not a bad thing at all.
No, it's just a nice
A
neutral.
is not a bad score.
No, it's a nice neutral smell. I like it.
It's a passing grade on the OWLs, so.
That is
That's
true.
All right, size and proportion. I will give this an exceeds expectation for size and proportion. I love that it is so wide for a book one. I feel like it's noticeably thick.
Yes.
So yeah, I would definitely give it an exceeds expectations. If not, dare I say, I think I'm going to give it an outstanding for size and proportions. Wow. I'm going there.
I would
Light off the
actually
fireworks.
I would actually agree. Like that was one of my favorite things when the book came was how like the size and proportions of the book. It's one of my favorites.
I'm saying E. Like it's really good. I don't know, but now you're like, is it an O? Like I don't know.
It's an O from me for sure.
I almost
I
want to
love
look
it.
back and see what I've given for O. It's always hard for me. I don't know if we mentioned, but I think it's, well, maybe it's not obvious to people that don't know a lot about languages, but Yiddish is a right to left language, so this book opens the opposite way that most books that you've ever read unless you speak Arabic. So it's hard, like holding it in your hands the opposite way, like to kind of get a good feel for the size and proportions compared to like books that I'm used to reading. So I'm kind of flipping it around. Yeah, okay, I'll give it an O. It's a really good book.
Yep.
It's really good. I mean, my mind always goes to like the next few books, like they're going to get really thick, but I can't let myself go there. Like just this exact book is really great. So yeah, God, you've convinced me. I'm going to O.
Good job. Good job.
Alon, what do you say? Size and proportions.
I don't know, because I listen to books for the most part, so I don't really have a recent
Like I always
gauge
attach like
for holding a book, you know.
All right, to give you like a little bit of perspective on it, like I always attach special meaning to like the first time I read the Harry Potter books, I read the hardcover books, and the size and proportion of that is like the perfect book. Or the Swedish books are perfectly square. The Asturian book is very tall. Like those things are very stand out. And I feel like this book, not to sway you, is very stand out because of how thick it is. Like the proportion.
The proportion is very good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So that's generally what we would look for.
I mean, I'll stick with the crowd. I'll give it an O.
Perfect. Wow.
Amazing.
Amazing.
All right. How this book feels in your hands. I might also give it an O for how it feels in your hands. I love, like, the way that the spine fits into my right hand is actually really satisfying because of the fact that it's read from right to left. And also, it's the best buttery texture. It is so soft and smooth.
Oh, I know.
I will agree with you on that. That's good.
The jacket, I love the texture of the jacket. It's one of my favorite things about the book, and I love how it's a definite O from here. Like, it was such a treat when I opened it for the first time.
I'm going O. Like even like when you open it up, like it opens. Like, it's not like you don't have to, there's no like crease. Like sometimes you open a book for the first time. Like when I just opened these Crimes of Grindelwald books, which are also really well made, but like they are like glued closed until you open them. Like this book doesn't feel that way at all, because I think of how the binding was made on the spine, which is more about quality, but like just when you open it, like how it feels in your hands, like it just feels like a book that is ready to be read.
Right.
How's that for a phrase?
That sounds lovely.
Ready to be read. Just put stickers like on books, like, hey, there you go. Ready to be read. I'm giving it an O. I think it's great. I think the cover feels awesome too. Everything that you've said. Absolutely agree.
And the weight. So I love the weight of the book in my hand. Like it's got a great weight. That's something that, you know, like if we have books that are lighter, like the French soft cover or some of the Portuguese books, they're pretty light. This has a good weight to it. Like I have no doubt that I'm holding a really good book here.
Which brings us to our next category, which is the quality of the book, which again,
it's an O from me.
Oh, for sure. I totally agree. Down to just the way that it's printed and the thought and detail. I don't know if you guys heard Alana and I like whispering, but we turned to a page in the book where it's when Harry receives his letter.
That's the page I turned to. No way.
Oh my gosh, page 64? No way.
Where the letter font is different than the regular font?
Well,
it's Hebrew script.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's Hebrew script. It's like us writing in cursive, and that Hebrew script phonetically spells out Minerva McGonagall. So that's what we were just like whispering to ourselves. We were like, oh, just the fact that they thought to do that and they wrote in script in the book, like they changed the font to script, is like just really, really cool attention to detail. The quality of this book is just, it is superb. So definitely I would give it a no.
And another fun fact, on the bottom of that page, there's a note from Hagrid that phonetically spells out Hagrid.
And that's in like a chunky font.
Yep.
Chunky.
How fun.
Right? Neat little fun facts.
I just love
really
this book.
Cool.
I love this book.
Like, this is a book where you could tell that they tried really hard. Like, it wasn't just like let's do it. It's like, we're going to do it, and we're going to do it really well.
Yeah.
And every aspect of it, like, the boards are awesome. It's beautiful purple, and like
and they used the Johnny
shiny
Duddle
gold.
They used the Johnny Duddle cover art, which we first meet, of course, from the Bloomsbury books. But I feel like it's such a vivid purple. Everything about this book is so well done.
Yeah, and like I have a post actually on my Instagram from a long time ago where it's just a bunch of different Johnny Duddle covers, and the coloring is very different in all of them. Like some are more blue, some are more purple, some are kind of like a darker, almost blackish. And yeah, I mean, everything about this is great. It just feels really, really great. This is a book that
even down to the ink,
really jazzed on.
Like they used an ink that has a really deep set black to it. Like everything about it, well done.
Well,
they even have a sticker. Does yours have a sticker on the cover?
Yes.
That mentions the translator?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we love that.
I love it. It's just awesome. It's really great.
So that's a good segue into the cover art and the interpretation of the cover art, which again, I feel like we would give an O.
An O.
It's that Johnny Duddle cover art, but the way that they adapted it for this book is just outstanding.
They took it and they made it their own by making like the images are nice and sharp and clear. The colors are wonderful. Like it's just so vivid and bright. It's wonderful.
I'm going to give it an E for this, and I'll tell you why.
Uh-oh.
No.
Because unlike other right to left languages, they did not invert the cover art, which isn't a make or break, but like I'm used to all of the other books being inverted if they're using an already established cover art.
I think that's a decent point. I'm still going to give it an O because I think it's beautiful anyway.
It's still great. Like an E is a good score. I just would have liked
maybe that's how they wanted to stand out.
Follow that trend. Right, that's fair. But like I'm holding it next to the oh my gosh, I shouldn't even mention this because this book is just amazing too. The single volume New Korean, which is like both parts in one book.
Oh, I know.
Oh my gosh, like I haven't looked at this book in a while. this, I won't give it away. This book is outstanding, but it's almost the same in every way. But it is weird, like holding two books up next to each other that read right to left and left to right, and the cover is exactly the same. Whereas I'm used to kind of holding up like an Arabic and an American English, and they're reversed, which I got accustomed to just with
I can see that
of the language. So I'm giving it an E, but it's a good E. It's E plus. How's that? E smiley emoji.
Okay. I'm still an O.
I feel like I talked way too much about that, and like whatever.
I think it's great. I think it's great you noticed.
I think this is the only one that does that, though. I think it's the only right to left translation that does not invert an already established cover.
Possible. I don't know. I'll have to.
I'm
Now I'm
gonna
going to
look
look.
at the other ones. So that's it. That's that book. That's Yiddish.
And we love it.
We love it. What a good book.
Go buy it. Honestly, go buy this book if you like books. Go buy it.
And
It's
if
really
you want to
cool.
hear if you want to hear the first paragraph read in Yiddish of Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, you can check it out at The Book That Lives on my website, which we'll get to in a second.
Well, that seems to be all the time we have for today. What a fun episode. I had a really great time talking about stuff,
Yeah, it was good.
which
Yeah.
I usually do. I don't know why I'm saying that, because I love talking about Harry Potter stuff. That's why
I've
we
been
do the
looking
show.
forward to this all week.
Aw.
Ditto. And mostly because it involves the two of you, which are Carly. And you
Same.
can find Carly all over the place. Carly has a website, which is alltheprettybooks.net. She also has an Instagram page, which is alltheprettybooks. And Carly also has a phone number, which is... No, I'm kidding.
We're not doxing me here.
No, I'm kidding. So Carly's on the internet. Melanie's also on the internet at the Harry Potter Collection. She has a wonderful website as well, which is theharrypottercollection.com. I do not have a website. I'm only on Instagram at Nocturne Erik. So that is where you'll find me. But you can find an Instagram page for this podcast, which is at Dialogue Alley Podcast. You can also send us questions, comments, or I don't know, really anything you want, I suppose, as long as it's legal and within reason, to dialoguealleypodcast@gmail.com. We haven't received anything crazy yet, which is probably good.
Don't give people ideas.
I won't. Okay. I won't do that. Alon, do you have anything you want to plug while you're here?
No, I got an Instagram because my wife made me follow her Instagram. I never use it, and I don't have a website. I'm just happy to be here.
Well, great.
Well, we're happy to
were
have
able
you.
Yeah, we're glad that you're able to join. I hope you had a good time.
I did. Thank you, guys.
You're welcome. We'll have to have you back when we do a trivia episode,
All right, looking
Yes.
forward to it.
Definitely.
or when we talk about another movie. Because personally, talking about the movies is hard for me to do.
Especially next is Chamber of Secrets.
I know, and I just finished watching it, and it was like a 3-sitting movie for
But
me.
I loved your live texts.
It's fun when Eric has to watch the movies and he texts us like throughout the movie. He's like, why did
it's
they
great.
do this? This part's stupid.
Why did he do that? Anyway, well, thank you everyone for listening. If you like what you hear, please leave us a written review on whatever platform you're listening on. For me, it's Apple, or I yell at my Amazon Alexa speaker, and she'll play the episode back while I'm cooking, so I can make sure we didn't say anything really crazy.
Yeah, that's a good thing. I didn't listen to the same place.
Awesome. And that's it. You guys have anything else?
No?
That's it.
No? Okay, great. Well, thank you so much for listening again, and now it is time to walk back through the archway and back into all of our daily lives, and we will catch you next time. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, guys.